I'll tell you what, I'm going to videotape those 4 clusters. Those are pretty good, guys. So even though they're different distances, y'all are duplicating the first ball pretty well. And if you can master that and really get good at that, that's going to serve you well as you continue to practice. Now here's how you use that on the course. Go ahead and get your balls again.
Okay, Dennis, we're going to look at your putting stroke. On the left was the putting stroke that you came to the session with, and I'm going to compare it to Tiger Woods, who's considered being one of the best putters of all time. And what we worked on during our school was the putt, hold, and look. And let's look at what your technique was. You've got good posture, good width of stance, tilted spine, elbows tucked. You don't have a wristy stroke, you have a good shoulder stroke. As you make contact with the golf ball, at that moment your eyes are down. But you can see as immediately as the ball leaves, the natural instinct is to follow the ball. And that's one of the things that we wanted to work on in order to be a better putter, is to hold your eyesight to the ground until your stroke is completed and comes to a stop. And your follow through went to about right here, but then you do have a tendency to then recoil, and you're standing up and you're coming out of your posture. Let's look at what Tiger does. Takes it back. As he hits the putt, his eyes are down. His eyes stay down, stay down, stay down. The ball's left the screen. He is still down. His putter comes to a complete stop. He will now start to turn to look, but he putts, holds, and then looks. And while he's looking, he's keeping his posture, he's not lifting, and he's holding his finishing position with his putter, so there's no recoil. And so that's what we had worked on during the session. And here we have you doing the adjustment where you are, when you set up, you are taking the putter back. As you strike the ball, you keep your head down, and you're holding that finish, just like Tiger did. And that's what you had worked on, and I want you to continue to work on that. You have a very good putting stroke. It was demonstrated during the round of golf that you putted really, really well. And I just want to give you this higher level of sophistication in your fundamentals so that you become even a better putter. And so continue to work on that till it becomes really comfortable. Putt, hold, and look. Very good.
Pretty good, buddy.
Don't hit that ball.
It is going to hit it. Watch.
Don't. How about $20? We got a $5 right there. He may just do it again for $10. That's a great putt. I don't know. See, a hustler coming in here all this trash talk, and then he does that. Hey, good putt. That was, how many feet was that, you think? 80, 60? That's more than 60, isn't it?
Yeah, that's probably about 80.
20 paces? 25 paces? 75 feet?
I think so. Yeah.
That's a pretty good putt right there. Of feet close together, hands forward, and stay on your left side so that your helps you hit down into the golf ball. You need to monitor your weight being on your left side. You can go ahead and hit some balls now. You're going through the shot. It's a through swing.
Dennis, I'm going to look at your chipping technique. On the left was the current technique that you had when you arrived at the school, and you have some good fundamentals, and you had some others that needed tweaking. And let's look at your technique. You do have a fairly wide stance for a chipping technique, and that's one of the things that we adjusted. The picture on the right was some of the adjustments you made after I talked about some of these fundamentals. When you set up on the left, you have a little bit more weight on your back foot. In fact, I remember during the round you asked me if there was ever a time that you should have your weight on your back foot, and I told you I couldn't think of any. You always want your low point in front of the golf ball and not behind the ball. And the way to achieve that is to have your weight on your left side and your hands slightly in front of the ball. And those two things facilitate the ability to get the low point of your arc in front of the golf ball. So there really is no value in having any weight on your back foot in a golf shot. So that's one of the things that we worked on. And you certainly can see huge difference in your setup on the left and your setup on the right. So your new setup on the right is much better, and I need you to permanently adopt that setup. Feet close together, weight slightly shifted to the left side, and you want to stay on that left during your backswing. I do want to talk a little bit about what we do with our arms and hands through impact. And your technique on this on the left here was actually pretty good in that as you come through, you're not at all wristy. You can see how your left hand here continues to move, and you're not at all wristy with your swing, in that you've got a nice triangle right there. You're not breaking down, you're not cupping the back of the left wrist, and that part of your original technique was very good, and I didn't want to take that away from you. Now, on the right was the first round of work after talking about these new adjustments and the new setup, but there some reason that caused some issues with how you used your hands. You started using your hands completely different in this first round. Now you later corrected it, but I do want to point out something that you would never really want to do in a chipping technique. As you hit this golf ball, your left hand basically just stops right there. And so you can see how you have severely cupped the back of that left wrist there, instead of letting your left arm continue to swing forward to the target. You can see how you really cup this wrist like that. And there was something that there was a misinterpretation of something that I must have said to have you change the technique you were using on the left to the technique on the right. And I never intended for you to flip the club head underneath your hands and stop that left arm from swinging forward. So what I like your hand action on the left, and so later in the chipping session you did correct this, and I'm going to show you that now. Now this shot you're getting ready to hit here demonstrates a big improvement. You got rid of that left hand wrist cupping underneath. This is when we were focusing on using the bounce of the club and using more of a swing of both hands through the ball. That's much better. So now the arms are swinging the way you originally had them swinging at the beginning of the session, but your setup is better, your weight is on your left side, you're learning to use the bounce. This golf ball is right here, so that ball got up really high because of your technique. So that's very good. continue working with that. Feet close together, weight on your left side. Swing both hands, swing the chest through. And you can see how your chest is pointing here. Your shoulders are angled like that. So you're swinging the chest through the ball. And that allows you to keep your wrist from breaking down and cupping on you. Very good.